They are the goals that have won the London derby comfortably for Chelsea. That make it 6 points out of 6 for them. Arsenal, of course, yet to get a point on the board. Two 2-0 defeats as far as they are concerned. And two very smart finishes along the way. And as we said at half-time, Romelu Lukaku, Michael, right at the heart of those goals. Yeah,
I mean, he was. He had a big influence on the first goal. And just his presence had an influence on the second goal. And I thought he had a really, really good debut, or second debut. He could have scored more as well. He had a fantastic header late on that was superbly saved by Leno. But I think that's a different angle now to Chelsea. I think everything that Thomas Tuchel would have been dreaming of this new signing has almost come to fruition in one game. He can now build from that. He can understand, because I think he said before the game as well, you know, it's not just Romelu Lukaku adapting to Chelsea. We've got to adapt to him as well. And when you're that good a player, that important a player, playing in that important a position, then sometimes your team have got to adapt to him as well. And I think that sort of already it looked like a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, 22 shots they had today. He had 8 of them.
Yeah.
Lifts a dressing room, a player of that quality coming in.
Oh, absolutely. You've got a focal point. But I also like the way that they brought their 2 wide guys in, Werner and Havertz. I think the way that they drew them in and got the 2 fullbacks going, as in a 4 down the side, I thought was exceptional today. So not only you've got the boy up to the front, you can lay it into the 2 pivot people as well. It's a lovely formation. The 3-4-3 is it's really difficult to go up against. I've played against it a few times, and the area of the pitch that I thought was maybe their weakness, although Arsenal had no threat going forward, was Christensen. I thought he was exceptional today, and he looked like a world beater. And that always, not only that frustrates me that you're getting a good idea at one end, you got the other centre half up the other end looking like he's having a holiday. You know, that's very frustrating.
I bet. And that system Lukaku brings the wing-backs even more into play. We've seen that with Chelsea in the past.
Yeah, always an interesting battle when you've got a wing-back to see whether he ends up defending or whether he can have an influence going forward as well. And what I did notice in the game is that the more and more Lukaku has an influence on it, the tighter and tighter and tighter everyone comes to almost create bodies around him to try to nick it. They're that petrified. And all of a sudden, there's acres of space out wide. And we saw it in the first half in particular with Reece James bombing down that right-hand side, and both goals came from that.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you mentioned Havertz there, because the big question last season was how does he fit in? Does Lukaku's arrival actually help him as well, then?
100%. I think, like Michael pointed out, with the Werner coming in and coming inside, you have them little pockets of space. You know, we didn't have it back in our days. There was one centre-forward at the time, left winger, that used to come inside to give us problems. A guy called John Barnes, Liverpool player, and they only kind of jumped inside all the time. And Lee Dixon was saying to me, the right back, "What do I have to go in there? What am I doing? What am I doing?" And we made the decision, because we're all leaders and we spoke about it, go on, in you go. But then you have someone to get in the space. You know, you have to figure that out. So I'm a little bit disappointed that he didn't organise that, Arteta, and saw the gaps. I said at half-time, this ain't working. You need to put Maitland-Niles in on that side, keep a back 4 to keep them spaces, because that's where they hurt us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a difficult team to play against, Chelsea, because they've not only got... I mean, they've always had star players, but now they've got a focal point as well. And once you've got that focal point, you know, so many players can run off it. You know, who do you mark? Who do you mark? Who do you focus on? You know, you focus on Lukaku for 1 minute, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got the Werners with his pace. You know, you've got Havertz, who's going to get better and better in this team as well. So... And then you've got fullbacks that like bombing on as well, or wing-backs. It's a very, very good team. And I said it before the show, or at the start of the show, I think the Premier League this year is as competitive at the top end. I think the top 4 this year really are going to battle it out for a long time. I think Manchester City and Liverpool have been ahead these last few years, but now I think Arsenal and possibly Manchester United as well are gathering pace.
Well, talking of wing-backs, that leads us beautifully into one of Chelsea's goal scorers today, Reece James, who joins us live from the Emirates. Reece, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. Congratulations. How good does that feel, a London derby win away from home?
Obviously, a great result here today. We knew coming here was going to be very tough. And obviously, when you lead 2 goals at half-time, you know they're going to have to come out basically all gun blazing in the second half. So they had a bit more of the ball in the second half, but we had to stick in there.
How good was it, those away fans backing you as well? We heard the chant of Reece James. He's one of our own throughout that game.
Yeah, it's very good having the fans back in the stadium. You know, it's a shame this game wasn't at the Bridge, but yeah, can't wait for the next one.
And that feeling when you scored the goal, Michael Owen here was very impressed with that finish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't score too many goals, but when I do, I try and make it a special one.
Reece, I was watching with interest, especially before the game. We're just watching your goal here, but before the game, we were thinking Tierney's an attacking wide player. You're an attacking fullback as well. Where's it going to break here? Who's going to get the upper hand? And it was actually you that was doing more of the attacking. Is there any insight? Is there any things that you do during the game to make sure it's him that's on the back foot defending rather than you?
No, I think that's a hard question to answer. You know, obviously teams have momentum in games, and sometimes you can't really control which teams got the upper hand. But today, you know, in the first half, we started well, and I had a lot of the ball.
And we're just watching your finish going in there. Was it always the plan to lift it as the goalkeeper comes out? I mean, it was a lovely finish. It was almost like a striker's finish.
Yeah, I mean, that was the plan, across and high. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
Almost like a striker. He's very complimentary, isn't he, Reece? And an assist as well for Romelu Lukaku. What a dream start for him today.
Yeah, I mean, what an addition to our team, you know, to have such a vocal striker like that. You know, everyone's seen today how powerful he is, and when he gets a chance, he finishes.
Reece, Tony Adams, mate, why didn't you join the Arsenal, pal? We could have done with you today. Brilliant, pal. Well done. Excellent performance and great goal. Thanks, Reece.
Thank you.
And just finally, Reece, I mean, I know you've played more often than anybody else under Thomas Tuchel. There's a real feel-good factor under him now.
Yeah, definitely. You know, ever since he's arrived, he's changed the atmosphere around the building. He's brought the group together, you know, and every day in training and in every meeting and every match, you know, I just feel the team getting stronger and growing in a good way.
And how much stronger are you with Romelu Lukaku? What kind of lift has he given you this week?
No, I think he's shown how he bullies players today. You know, I can't really think of any other players like him in the world. How strong he is and powerful. You know, everyone he comes up against, he just bullies.
Well, I'm sure there's lots more to come. Listen, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Well done again today.
Thank you.
Chelsea lead Arsenal then in the London derby at the Emirates. We talked about Romelu Lukaku before kick-off. It took him less than a quarter of an hour, Tony, unfortunately, to open his Chelsea account. Yeah,
not really a good watch for me at the moment, but he's holding the ball up so well there. Lukaku's been a bit unplayable. Mari keeps on standing behind him, to be completely honest with you. It's not a way to actually to mark him, and Tini's very worried, and in they come. You know, he's come in too far, Kieran, and it's an easy slot across and a finish from Lukaku.
Good centre-forward play, isn't it? Link-in play, then the ball gets wide, then you get yourself into the box. It is bog-standard centre-forward play, what you're always taught as a kid, and he's just done it to perfection there. Holding the ball up, bring your men into play, turn and get in the box. And on the subject of holding the ball up, we actually heard from Romelu Lukaku before the game in our show, and he was talking about his improvement with his back to goal.
Technically, obviously, I improved because before back to goal was not really my thing. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it because I'm more of a guy that likes to run in behind and, you know, attack spaces and, you know, take players on. But as soon as I started, like, you know, getting better at my back to goal play, for me, it was better because I could score more goals, but then I could create also more for my teammates. So my assists went up. So I became more complete of a player.
Yeah, interesting. And that back-to-goal point he was making clearly evident. Oh,
it was perfect, isn't it? I mean, it's exactly... It encapsulates everything about this goal. Here we see him pinning his man back, giving the length to the team. The ball actually comes into him. He uses his strength, his power, holds the ball up. He's almost like a building block now to the team. Everybody can run off him. And as he takes his good first touch, he lays it back and look at his movement, straight back into the box. And because of that, look how many players have almost converged into the centre area. Cedric here is playing everybody onside because Alonso's made a little bit of a good move. But then Lukaku lays it off, spins, and he's into the 6-yard box for a simple tap. And I mean, it's a very simple goal. And of course, that first ball that goes into the centre, that just it makes all the Arsenal team almost converge on him as he lays it off, and then you get the space out wide, and that's exactly what we've seen there.
And the exact same thing could have happened to Arsenal again, Tony.
Yeah, replica situation. This is a good switch play, actually. But like Michael said, the team has actually got so worried about that centre point into Lukaku. They're playing off of him all the time. And it's bring all the full-backs in, and they've got the width with James on the other side. And then they're exposing us down the sides with the width.
And, of course, it was the width that provided the second. How good a team goal was this from Chelsea?
Yeah, it was a very good goal. You know, again, Lukaku is keeping the distance, and his little bit of movement as well towards the ball there just frees up that far area. And Reece James has been a thorn in the side all the time. It's normally Tierney attacking for Arsenal, but he's made sure Tierney's actually defending, doing something, Tony, that he's probably not best at either. Kieran Tierney.
Listen, you know, for me, he's got to learn that side of the game, you know, but it's all coming from Lukaku. You know, and Mari's not been able to handle Lukaku. You know, it's schoolboy stuff. You don't mark behind him. You know, at least get alongside and stop the ball coming into it. You know, that's how you stop it.
We see Tierney, he's highlighted here, and he's so obsessed with Lukaku. Yeah. You see him coming over here, Tony, but really, the problem is on the far side, and he should be...
Go away, get Mari out, doing his job, coming to the ball, but they've been so obsessed with this, and he's just been pinning him. He thinks he's got to help him. He thinks he's got to come in.
Because numerically, Arsenal are in good shape there, Steve. I mean, they've got enough bodies at the back there, but everybody seems to be so concerned about Lukaku and his influence that, especially Tierney, they're getting dragged out of position, and then you've got the quality of Reece James making that late, deep run, and he's causing trouble all the time.
Towards the end, Tony, they had a penalty appeal?
No, not for me. I think it's a coming together, and actually it's Saka that... yeah, I'd love to say, yeah, penalty, come on. But it's not for me, you know. Saka's ended up kicking James and, yeah, move on.